Now, I know some of you have had me before, so, well, I don't know. This is a 120 or 103. So sometimes I don't see a lot of y'all. Let me look around and see if any. I know one student I got, but two students. Three. You took my 103 last semester, and you still came back. What's wrong? You drunk or something? I'm just kidding. Who else? Anybody else?
I took the 102 or 102 like years ago.
You had long hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm consistency.
Okay, good. Why do they use that word?
I don't know.
Transient, like you're some kind of bum or something.
The security guy said the same thing. There's transient.
Transient means that you move around. I was a transient student. I was a student at Anderson College. I'm sorry, Anderson University. I was a student there taking trig. I was a student at Clemson. I was a student at Greenville Tech and a student at Tri-County Tech. I was taking a programming course at Greenville Tech. I was taking a trig at Anderson College. I was taking Western Civ 1 and 2 at night at Tri-County. And I was taking some underwater firefighting classes at Clemson electives just to pass the time away, I guess. So you can imagine my track going up and down the road. That was the worst semester I think I had. And not only that, but I had Western Civ 1 and 2 from 6 to 8 and 8 to 10 at Tri-County Tech. I remember the room. And I didn't even have to leave my seat because the guy, one person walked out, the other one walked in, and I just sat there for 4 hours. I had Western Civ from 6 to 8, 2 nights a week, or every night, whatever we were doing back then. So I know what a transient student is, but why don't they just call them transfer students? Why do they have to call them transient? They used to, you know what they used to call them? Special students. So if you're a transient student, they used to call you special students. So anyway, so let's go ahead and pull up one. Can you turn that front light off, please? So that way students can see there. Thank you. Okay. So if you have your laptop, go ahead and pull up the ones I pull up. The first one I'm going to pull up is the syllabus. Now the syllabus is really worthless because you have to have a Philadelphia lawyer to understand it because the bureaucrats write them now. And I have to write the Math 110 and Math 111 syllabus, and you can't just write it on Word now. You can't do that. You have to go through something called WIDS. And when you write a syllabus, you can't use the word learn or learning. Yeah, that's how bureaucratic it is now. So when you write a syllabus, basically what happens is the bureaucrats force us as teachers just to change the author and not even think about changing anything, because if you change a word, it's like you have to use a different word instead of that word. So that's why it's worthless. You're supposed to use assess. Yeah. Anyway, if you look at that, that's great, but it's worthless. So we're not going to talk about that. I will talk about the most important paper of all, and that is the one that says tentative schedule. There's your tentative schedule. Now this is the most important page. Why is it the most important? Because some of y'all, and I mean y'all, all students, not just in here, think that I'm supposed to tell you where I left off and where I started and all that stuff. Now remember, y'all are in college. Even though the administration wants me to hold y'all's hands, I'm still not going to do that. I'm going to help you with the math, and that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm paid for. And I'm not going to tell you, especially if I just finished 2.1 today, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to call me and say, I missed Wednesday's class, or whatever day is. I missed Tuesday's class. What did you go over, and what are you going to go over Thursday? I won't respond. Because if you can't look at the outline and say, okay, he covered 1.5 the last time I was in class, then he's probably going to cover what? 7.8. No, you're going to look at the outline. This outline is your schedule. All right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you've got 4 units. You take 10 weeks and divide by 4, you get 2.5 weeks per unit. One is because I do not follow any schedule. All right? So I don't need a hammy coming up here at the third, fourth, or the third, fourth week telling me, Hubert, we gotta get a test done. You know, those type students. All right, you just sit down. I'm not even gonna talk to you. Those students irritate me. All right.
Really have students that ask you to take tests.
You, Miss Reinhardt, do I have students that act like that?
Yeah.
I have students that come up here and say, I was just wondering, you started today. Do we have any homework due tomorrow? I haven't even opened a book yet. Those are the students that need to take a pill. What's it called? Xanax? All right, now I've got 2 or 3 students. Raise your hand if you had me before. All right. Okay, there's one. What did you, 155 or 1? Oh, tell me when it was.
It was in 2017.
Oh, well, I was still using Course Compass then. Yeah, I brought Course Compass and MyLabs Plus on to Tri-County Tech with all the T-Rexes that were here. I had to ask for a computer.
Yeah.
That was a long time. Anything interesting in the class? What class was it? 101, 102, that's when I was in comprehensive studies.
Right. And that was at Posey?
Mm-hmm. I was on the 3rd floor,
No. Actually, you know,
Pickens Hall. Oh my Lord. That was ancient.
no, don't send it to her.
I'm talking about when I was there. That was ancient.
Well, that was the last time I came.
Yeah, I was department head of comprehensive studies back then, 101, 102, 031, and 032.
That's the last time I was
Oh my goodness, that's 100 years ago, some students say. They go, oh, it's been 100 years since I took class. I'm going to fail everything. Yep, you are. Well, I'm glad you're here. You must have placed into it, so you must have retained some of that information. It was just a fantastic teacher is what it was. Did we do the Andy Griffith bonuses that time?
Yes, we did.
Well, you did. You know why I quit doing Andy Griffith? Because students couldn't do it right. And students ruin everything. It's kind of like the students that they ruined it. I used to do Andy Griffith bonuses on the test. I know, but some, you know, the students that put bubble gum under the desk and mess it up for everybody else. Well, you always got one. That's one of my rules. There's always one and nothing's free. But anyway, let me go ahead and tell you this, because some of y'all are going to go ahead and spaz out and say, oh my gosh, I don't have my math lab. I don't have my answers today. The world's going to blow up. All right? The first 2 chapters, 1 and 2, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 are all reading. Okay? So you can go ahead and get started on that, and you can wait till probably next week to get your access code. All right? You don't need to get on. You can go ahead and get on to MyLabs Plus if you want to, but if you get on it today, you're going to break up your 21-day grace period. Okay? You don't need to get on to MyLabs Plus until if you one of these people that's waiting on a check, or waiting on a scholarship, or waiting on a paycheck, or waiting on refund from your Pell Grant or something like that, then you need to wait until the last possible moment to register onto MyLabs Plus, because in this class, in Math 120, you don't need MyLabs Plus until Chapter 3, really. Well, then you have to use it. If you're going to use the book online, then you will. But we'll get to that when we talk about all that. Okay. I would borrow somebody. I mean, say, yo, print me out some pages. But anyway, if you've got one of those notebooks with the front plastic cover on it, this goes in the front. And this needs to be with you every day. That way, if you miss Thursday and I cover 2.1 today, you know that I'm going to cover what? 2.2 Thursday. Now, of course, I shouldn't have to tell y'all this, but I have to, because somebody will come up to me Tuesday and say, or today in the class, I'm not talking about y'all, I'm talking about just any student. I'm not going to be here Tuesday or Thursday. Will you tell me what you're going to go over? And I just have covered 2.1. And they're going to ask me, what am I going to cover? And I'll look at them and say, I have no clue. If you hear me say I have no clue or I don't know, then that means I've already what? I've already told you, or I've went over it, or it's on the handout. Okay? All right. And these 3 students, they made it in my class. So it's possible to make it by reading. It is. It's possible. All right, so that's that. I'm supposed to put dates out here for y'all, but I'm not. Because I'm not going to follow the schedule anyway. I might get through with Unit 1 first. That's this whole Chapter 1, 2, and 3. I might get through with it early, but that gives me more time to get down here and do this stuff. Now, some of y'all have had Math 120. Well, I care less about y'all, all right? That's not who I'm here to teach to. I'm here to teach. I'm going to use you for an example. The one that hasn't had 120. I never had 120. I never had a probability course in my life until my senior year at Clemson. I'm sorry, Clemson. Those of you that's not from around here, you put a Z in Clemson. If you're from around here, there's a P in Clemson.
What?
Yeah. Wait till you watch the ESPN. Watch Clemson football on ESPN and all those announcers, because they don't want to be associated with those racist, ignorant Southerners. They don't want to put a P in it, so they overemphasize the Z or the S, and they say Clemson. Watch it. Watch them on ESPN. They will not say Clemson. They'll say Clemson. Just like people will not say www. They'll say www. Watch it. They don't want to be Southern. Anyway, make sure you kind of put some tentative dates, because if I don't say put tentative dates, then people will ask you, did you put your tentative dates on your outline? And you'll say, no, Hubert didn't tell me to do that. And then I'll get in trouble like I always do, because I don't do anything that I'm told to do as far as this bull crap. Now, if you were 12 or 13 or maybe even 15, yes, I would help you do this, but I'm not going to do that. I think I have 2 16-year-olds in 2 of my classes. 16-year-olds taking your credit during the summer. Dang old, going to be dang old smart down by the valedictorian. All right, so there's the most important page right there. That's it. So you need to put that in your notebook. The second most important page is the one that says things I will be graded on. Let's see if I can find it. Here are things that you will be graded on. This one goes, like I said, if you have a plastic folder on the outside of your notebook, this one goes in the back, so you can look at it whenever you need to. All right, this one goes over several things. All right, here are things that you will be graded on for this course. Most courses have 4 units in it, so you're supposed to take the weeks that you spend, divide it by 4 on how many units, and that's how much time you have to spend on each one. Now, that's if you were in an online course. If you were in an online course, that's what you need to go by. Take your calendar, 2.5 weeks, Unit 1 test, 2.5 weeks, Unit 2 test, and that keeps you on schedule to finish by the last day. But we don't do that in here, but that's what you're supposed to do. Homework is online. Homework online is started. Let's see. I need to blow this up, because some of y'all don't have it. When what? I start the material. Now, what that talks about is basically anything that's math-based. Now, I will cover chapters 1 and 2, and I will highlight the hot spots. What if I highlight it or if I mention it in class, that means that you're responsible for it on the test. If I say I'll skip it, then I'm not worried about it being on test. All right, I'm very predictable when it comes to a test. If I say something stupid, then that means it's not going to be on the test. I'm not like a college algebra teacher that I used to have, that used to teach here. I semi-retired or retired. He would show you 1, 2, and 3 in the class and put 21, 22, 24 on the test. Okay? I'm not that way. I'm the whatever I show you, I put on the test, or I try to. Now I might challenge you, but I'm not going to put something totally different from what I've shown you. I might put something similar, just a little bit harder, but I'm not going to put something totally different. It says homework deadlines will be posted when we get toward the end of the what? Unit. So this unit, let's go back and pull up, because we have to explain this, because some people don't understand and they'll end up emailing me and then I'll say I have no clue. Let's go back to the most important handout, which is the schedule. So Unit 1 has 3 chapters in it. So you don't have to worry about a test or the homework having a date on it until 3.4. Then what happens when you get to 3.4? When you get to 3.4 and 3.5, my students can attest to this. I will pull up a test and we will go over it, and I will I'll say, okay, now that I've went over the test, I need to put the dates for this test, and I'll put the dates on it right in front of you. And then I'll say, well, now that we've got the dates on the test, I need to put a termination date for the what? Homework. And then I'll put a termination date for the homework. And then it's a magical process. When I do that, guess what shows up on your MyLabs Plus calendar? Your due dates. Somebody will email me the day after class. I do that and say, when's the test due? Okay, please don't do that. If you ever want to know when a test or homework is due, always check what first? MyLabs Plus. Now watch this next line. If there's nothing there, if there's not a due date there, then what do? You don't worry about it. The only one that needs to worry about this syllabus is me. Okay? I don't need a handy telling me that, well, about the 7th week of class, somebody in here is going to say, well, Hubert, we're on unit 2 and we got 4 more units. Will I respond to them or ignore them? I'll ignore them, because it's not their responsibility to worry about the syllabus. It's mine. And I know what's important in this 120 for you to take 103 or for you to take a 220. I'm responsible for that. Which 220 we got rid of because students at Clemson couldn't pass it. So we had to get rid of it because they watered it down and taught it 103, and then they told us to teach 103. So that's why we don't have 220 anymore. All right. You can print out the homework and do it on your own. Do it like paper and pencil if you want to. I'll show you how to do that. Online test. When I give you an online test in this class, you'll have 2 chances to take the test. Look what's underlined right there. This is a test question. Course Compass will take the what? Higher of the 2 grades. If I give you 3 grades, it'll drop the lowest 2. If I give you 5 attempts, it'll drop the lowest 4. Now people say, why in the world would you give 5 tests? Well, some students say, I don't have to do the homework. And with algebra concepts like factoring, the more problems you do, the better. Well, the student that thinks they know everything and doesn't do the homework, makes a 50 on the first test, they may take it 3 or 4 times because I set it on the repetitious stuff that you need to do over and over and over. I'm going to put a high amount of test attempts. Now, if I put 30 problems on the test and you take it 5 times because you made a 40 or 50 on the first time, and each time you gradually get higher, by the time you get to the A, how many problems have you done? 150. So what have you done? You've done homework. I know, I'm a bastard. All right. So make sure all your 5 don't forget your 5 dead grandmothers and your 5 flat tires that you have on test day. That don't exist in here, okay? You've got a week to take the test. Do I still have zeros? You ever meet somebody that's failed my class? Don't hang around too much, because either the stupid is going to wear off on you or the LAD is going to wear off on you. Okay, I'm serious. If you ever meet somebody that says, oh, I had Hubert, I made a 50 in his class, then just kind of step away, because something bad's going to happen. Okay? You take the test on your time, multiple choice and open answer. You can review and print out. And here's another test question. How is the percentages in Hubert's class? 60% is unit test. The average of the unit test multiplied by 60%. The homework, cumulative homework grade, multiply it by 20%. And the final exam, multiply it by 20%, and then add those 3 totals up, and that's your grade. But you know what? There's a thing on MyLabs Plus. What's it called? I think it's called Grade Book. That's a test question too. What does the grade book on MyLabs Plus do? Why do I put that on there? Why do I put a test question like that on there? Because at the end of the semester, I've got about 100 students. I'll get about 5 to 10 students email me or call me or text me and say, how do I know what I made in the class? Now, I could understand that if I give you class assignments and give you a class test and give you a homework assignment in class or an extra credit, but I don't do that. Everything I give you is on MyLabs Plus. So one of the reasons I do that is so I don't have to grade it. And there's no impartiality in my grading. In other words, if you make a 50 on MyLabs Plus test, it's not because MyLabs Plus don't like you. It's not because MyLabs Plus thinks that you're smarter than somebody else. It's because you didn't get the problems right. It's pretty analytical. Okay? Yes, sir.
Will all of these tests be online?
Yes. Even though the department doesn't want me to do that.
How about the final? Will that be online?
Be online also. That's a test question. Will the final exam be online? That's a test question. And I usually don't put that on here, but it's kind of like, okay, Hubert hates paperwork. He hates the grade. He's given online tests all through the semester. I'm not going to give you a final exam online, in class. That's just extra work. And you don't get the feedback. How many times have you been in a class where it takes 3 weeks for the teacher to give you an assignment back, graded? And it's what? It's frustrating. Now, I still fuss with my department head all the time. She said, you need to give in class and test. Department, you would need to give a class and test in class. So I do. I might give you a in-class test that says what's 2 plus 4. And I give you 5 questions, and that's your in-class test, and therefore you can honestly tell, if she asks you, you can honestly tell her that I gave you a what? And it counts as extra points at the end of the semester. Yes, sir. Yes, you take 2 times. You've got 2 hours to take each attempt. Takes a higher of the 2. Now, why do I do that? Because everybody has a bad day. Everybody has a bad day, and we'll talk about when to take the test. You don't take the test when you got 5 or 6 banshee children running around. The dog's on the cat sitting on the keyboard, and the dog is chewing up the computer on the floor or whatever. You don't take it lightning storm outside. You don't take it during lightning storm. Believe you me, I have students that during a lightning storm, they have actually taken a test, and then they call me up, and I won't answer the phone because I'm not answering the phone with landline during a freaking thunderstorm. Some of y'all should not have a license or procreate. I'm serious, some of y'all. Because some of y'all are dumb as a post. When it comes to making decisions like that, I'm not talking about y'all over here, I'm talking about all my students for the last 20 years that I've been teaching. All right, so that's that page. Second most important page right there. All right, third most important page. Well, that's the 2 most important pages. I'm going to just glance over the other handouts just so you can see. Here's the one that y'all won't read right here. It's called MyLabs Plus. Of course, y'all don't have it, so I can't fuss at y'all. But here it is. Tells you how to get on. Now, I was telling everybody they have to go to Blackboard. I don't use 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 Blackboard. That's 5 times I said it. I'm going to get somebody that emailed me and says, I was looking on Blackboard for your homework problems and I can't find it. Did they get a response? No, they will not. Okay, and my boss knows that I don't use because I think it's a joke. Anyway, use login and password. Now let me go ahead and tell you this while I'm talking about this. If you've used MyLabs Plus in the past at Tri-County Tech, and your username is bsmith@tctc.edu, then you would type in bsmith, and you would type in whatever password you used last semester if you changed your password. But if it's generic, if it's the first time you've taken it or first time at Tri-County Tech, the password is going to be your what? Your T number with a capital T and the number. All right? If you had a password back 20 years ago or 10 years ago and you can't remember it, then that's when you need to call these two people or email them, G. Marshall or Mohammed Gabadi, M. Gabadi. If you have any questions with login, you need to email them. I can't do anything. My boss is actually trying to make me administrator, and I think that's good because I can help everybody here at the Anderson campus. But she hasn't told me to do it yet. Yes. Mm-hmm. They did? Wow. Okay, if you have a problem, try to use she said her whole email address, but they told me that, I think it says up here somewhere that you use without the TCTC, but you can try, okay, this is what you don't do. You don't go on and say, B. Smith, Donald Duck is my password. Oh, it don't work, and then turn the computer off. You got to try more than once, okay? You might not have hit the right, no, this is what y'all do. Oh, it don't work. I'm going to call you. I can't do anything. The only ones that can do anything is those two guys right there, okay? Or if it's bigger than them, then they'll call the book rep who will get on it and figure out what the problem is. But what's your last name? Williams. Was it Miss Williams back then? What was it back then? What? Sproul. I can't believe I don't remember that. Exactly. She is coming in. She would use her T number because she hasn't used the password or anything, so she would use her T number for the password. Now, if you want to change it after then, fine, but I wouldn't. I don't think anybody's going to break into your account and do your homework for you. Okay? All right. Make sure you make note of this. Sometimes you'll pull up your homework and it'll be just a white page. If that happens, change engines. All right? The one you do not want to use is Internet Explorer. Okay? But I have had students use Chrome and use Firefox, and then when they went to Internet Explorer, it worked. Again, you don't use Chrome and it don't work and just quit. All right? Go to Chrome, go to Firefox, and then use Internet Explorer and see if one of them works. If one of them works, you stick with it. If it stops working, you move to the other one. I don't know. We're told to do that. I don't know. When you're talking about something as complicated as the programming on these reinforcement sites, I don't even want to talk about it because you're talking about a lot of code, and I don't even want to think about it. Now, if you go through the, I loaded them today because we were told, they said, make sure you tell them to go to the thing on Blackboard, and then they wrote us an email this morning and said, oh, the MyLabs Plus is not on Blackboard, you have to install it yourself. So I went through and installed it on Blackboard today. It's only about 5 steps, and I went through and put it on all my classes. So when you pull up Math 120, whatever section you are, you'll see it on the left. It'll be on the left. It's called MyLabs Plus link or something like that. And hit that. Then it's going to say My Labs Plus. Right click on My Labs Plus and hit Open in another tab. Open in a new tab. If it doesn't work, then there'll be a shield up in the top right hand corner. McCaffrey Shield. It looks like a Windows Shield or McCaffrey Shield. Right click on it and say whatever you need to do to get it to work. Okay? And it talks about it right here. Load unsafe script. It tells you everything that you might run into on this handout. So make sure you print this handout out. Okay? That's what it looks like. Now, access code. How do you get an access code? There's 3 ways to get an access code. One is with your book. You go in the bookstore, you buy a brand new book, you get an access code with it. That's one. 2, you buy an access code in the bookstore. They usually don't order enough. Okay, last semester we had 200 students in Math 120. This semester we'll order 50 access codes. Okay, they don't order enough. All right. Third is to buy it online. When you click onto access code, that means you have an access code in your hand, you're going to type it in. When it says buy now, that means you're going to type in your debit card and you're going to get an access code. It's going to send you right into the registration process. And then pay later starts your 21-day trial period. Now, you need to think about if you're going to use that or not. If you're going to use it for doing homework, then you need to wait till the last minute. That you can wait until 5 or 6 days from now, so that way you can use it on into chapter 3 where all the math homework is. Okay, unless you know when you're going to get your check or your refund or whatever the case may be. Okay, if you need it for the book, then you need to go ahead and start it today so you can print out the sections of the book that you need to read. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that either by today or Thursday. I'll show you how to print out your book. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I always have a student. Well, I can get this on eBay, and I got a cousin's brother's aunt's sister that's got a My Labs Plus card. You've seen these signs that are at hotel pools. What do they say? Swim at your own what? Buy online at your own risk. I'm not telling you to do that because I've seen 10 students in the last 5 years probably, or 5 semesters, buy stuff on Amazon, eBay, whatever, and they end up spending $25 and losing it because the card don't work, or the access code is outdated, or it's an accounting Labs Plus instead of My Labs Plus, and then they call Pearson, and Pearson, they're not going to give you an access code for something that you didn't buy or what you were supposed to buy. You're going to say, oh, I've got this thing on eBay, and they're going to say, what's the code? And you're going to give them the code, and it's going to pop up, used 25 years ago at Ohio State University for an accounting course. And they're going to know you got it off of eBay for 25 bucks. And then they're going to say, well, that code doesn't work. And then you're going to say, well, can you exchange it for, and they're going to say no, because it costs 75 to 100 bucks for real code. So nothing is what? Free. If you think you got something for free, something's going to what? Something's going to bite you. Okay? All right, so that's that handout. Number 3, most important handout. Number 4, most important handout is the one that says Office handout. I think that, and I also included a PDF file. Just make sure. Some of y'all don't know that you actually have Office 365 as to issue for you as your enrollment. I don't know about, what about transient students? Do y'all get it too? I don't know. But some of you that are students at Tri-County Tech, you actually can go to the portal. It's right down here. There it is right there. Type in your username and password at Tri-County Tech. Well, when you type in your username at the portal at tctc.edu, it's going to redirect you to the Tri-County Tech portal page. and then you type in your username and password here at TCTC, and then you hit enter, and then it's going to take you to the install page. And I think you get up to 5 free installations. Okay, I think that's for full-time students, but I don't know. Try it if you're a part-time student or a transient student. You might get lucky and slip through the cracks and get something for free. I don't know. But it's included in your tuition, I know, if you've got a full-time status. But anyway, this is how you get Skype, Skype for Business. Now, I've been told that you can use Skype and Skype for Business interchangeably, but I don't know. I haven't tried it. For those of you that have emergencies, I do let students Skype in. I think you Skyped in a couple of times last semester. That's, I tell students to use it for emergencies, daycare, kids, brother or sister, mom and dad, you having to take care of your mom and dad, or whatever the case may be, or you're having to go to work at 2 o'clock or 2:30 and you can't come to class and be there at 2:30, then you need to Skype in, or whatever the case may be. Just don't abuse it, okay? Don't come in here every single day. But now, if you have I have students that take my class and they live in Seneca. I have students that take my class, they live in Salem. Now, y'all know where Salem is? Tomasi, Salem. They don't have no crime rate up there. You know why? They still hang your butt if you do something wrong, just like Brownsville down there below South Ida. All right? That place is way, but they come, and I tell students, I had somebody from Spartanburg take my course, and they travel up and down 85 to come to my course. I told them, I said, don't do that, Skype in. Now, if you're one of those students that come from more than 30 minutes away, then yes, you need to use Skype. There's no sense in you traveling up and down the road when you can use Skype. So talk to me after class if you're one of those people, okay? And that's that. You get Excel, you get Skype, you get PowerPoint, you get Publisher, you get everything in Office 365. So some of y'all might not know that, but now you do. Any questions? Okay. That's the 4th most important. The 5th most important is the one that says, I can't find it. Let me go up. I think it's YouTube and ETC. That's kind of a rundown. It's not really important. It's kind of a rundown if I forget anything. And okay, YouTube. How do you find my videos on YouTube? Some of you are subscribers. That's great. But you hit YouTube. You go to YouTube. I'll go ahead and show that to you now, because I don't want anybody, I didn't know where it was. Bull crap. So let's go ahead and pull that up, because I got to pull it up anyway to upload this video. www.youtube.com. People's not from around here that live in Pendle. They don't say Pendle. Pendleton. Where are you from? Or they don't say Belton. Belton. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all from around here. Pull up Hubert McClure. Click on the blue shirt. The green shirt is office hours. I used to do office hours before I started doing classes, and you can go, I do office hours, and they're just problems, okay? And I can't stand to hear myself talk, so I always mute it. There's 3 things I can't stand. I can't stand to hear myself talk, I can't stand to videotape myself, and I can't stand to look at my evaluations. So I have no idea what students say about me, but I can't stand to look at my evaluations. All right, so there it is. You go to Creative Playlist, and that basically shows you all the classes. Your class will be called Summer 2017 Math 120 Online and Conventional, because the online class is going to be going with y'all as far as instruction. Okay, and you click on that, and let's say that you want to see what happens the first 2 days. You can go back to 120. I think I taught one there. There it is, fall. And there's the first day. And I guarantee you I'm covering the same thing that I covered that day. You can look. There's the syllabus. I don't know what that is. That's email. Okay. There's the same handouts. So you can look at any of my first, second days, any of my classes, and they're about the same thing. I do update my handouts a little bit every 2 or 3 semesters. But you can go to any of my classes and pretty much get the same information as far as the first and the second day of class. One thing you'll find out about me as a teacher, I am 100% into the teaching part of teaching. I am not into busy work for the teacher. I'm not into bureaucracy for the teacher, and I'm not into being impressed by how smart the student is. I'm here for the student. I'm here for the weakest link in the class. All right, the one that don't know how to do the material. I could care less about the guy that thinks he can invent the space shuttle. All right, thinks he invented the space shuttle. Y'all all know the type. They make the whole classroom uncomfortable. They think they know more than the teacher does. And that person, I want you to stay at home and invent a cure for cancer. Okay? Because I don't want you in my class, period. All right? And I say that to all my classes, not just this one. So you can pull your videos up there. So that's that handout. How to Skype. As an instructor, I realize things happen. Please use this as an emergency. Do not abuse the privilege. The only ones that can abuse the privilege are the ones that live in Tomasi-Salem, South Ivor or Lounsville, and Spartanburg. You know, those kind of places we need to talk after class. All right? Now, if you want to try Skype, you can, but I've been told that a person from Skype can load on to Skype for Business, but I don't know. I can't do it the other way. I can't do a meeting with Skype and you come in as Skype for Business. You can log on, but I'm not able to present like I can in Skype for Business. So I have to have Skype for Business. I don't think you actually have to. Registering on to MyLabs Plus. Again, I cover some of the same things that are on that handout. Now, one thing that you might not know, the initial registration you need to try to do through Blackboard. I don't know. We have some people that think you have to go through Blackboard on everything. But if it doesn't work, or if you have a hard time doing it through Blackboard, go to www.tctc.mylabsplus.com. All right? Make sure you put the TCTC in front of it, because if you don't, then it's going to ask you for a course ID. You're going to email me and ask me for the course ID, and I'm not going to respond. All right? Because you didn't follow directions. tctc.mylabsplus.com. And I got it somewhere, or it's on that other handout. Okay? And I also sent y'all out an email, I think, that said, if you can't go through Blackboard, try going to www.tctc.mylabsplus.com. I think I sent that out a couple of days ago. Okay? And that's about the 5th most important. The only one that I haven't covered is class courtesies, and I'll cover that right quick. I'm just going to cover a couple of those because most of y'all are B or above students, so most of y'all know how to act. Well, I can't, there it is, Hubert's class courtesy. My number one rule is I teach the way that I want to be taught. I remember when I was a student, and usually the students that really suck the most remember their student life, and I did. So I know how it is to have a subject that you have no idea how to do. So I remember that. Okay? I've been teaching for I just got my 20-year pin last Thursday. Got my 20-year pin. They hadn't sent it to me because I didn't go up there to get it. I stayed here and watched it. They said, Hubert McClure, where's Hubert? He's at the Anderson campus. That's what they hired me for. They said, we want you to teach and advise at the Anderson campus. But they want to pull me up to the Pendleton campus all the time for meetings. But anyway, I'm like, we do have Skype technology. This is 2017. It's like pulling hen's teeth to get some people at Tri-County Tech to use technology. Some of them are still writing emails in the subject line of their emails. That's how bad it is. We've got some people. Listen, I gave a training session the other day, not the other day, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was showing people how to use the Epson system, because we've got like 78 to 80% of the teachers that do not know how to use the Epson system. And I was sitting there going, and I said, you keep adding whiteboards, and you have an infinite amount of space to write. And one of the teachers said, well, I just like my whiteboard because I can write on it and I can erase it and keep writing. Think about that for a minute. And I looked at him like, okay. But anyway, I teach the way I want to be taught. Also, cell phones. I have a cell phone. It goes off. Sometimes I forget to put it on silent. All right? I think it's very hypocritical for me to sit here and tell you, you don't need cell phone in class when mine's sitting up here on the desk going off. I don't have a heart attack when yours goes off. I have 3 numbers that I respond to pretty much for emergencies. My daughter, my son, his school, his school, and my mother. Now my mother, I give her a schedule of my classes, but that's like giving a schedule to my father. You might as well just throw it up, and when he was alive, he just, okay, so this is when they wouldn't read it. They just call me in the middle of class. So, when those 3 numbers go off, I go out I say, excuse me, I have to answer this. I go out in the hallway and I say, what's wrong? Now, if I do that, then you should do that. And a lot of people say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, let's just turn the tables around. Let's say that you come up here after class and let's say you've got a problem that we're doing in chapter 10, which has got several steps to it. And you come up here and say, Hubert, I'm having a problem with this problem. I've done this. And you start to explain the problem to me. And while you're doing that, I decide I want to text somebody. What is that? Tell me what that is. Starts with R. Fun, quick. Rude. I can't do it like she did. Anyway. What's the difference in me texting somebody while you're asking me a question and you texting while I'm writing on the board? Anybody want to tell me the difference? There's no difference. It's still rude. And some of y'all try to insult my intelligence. Now, when I say y'all, I'm not talking about people in here. I'm talking about students, especially in the fall, the teeny boppers. Okay? They try to insult my intelligence, but they don't know how bad of a student I was. Okay? All right? So they try to insult my intelligence by doing this. Or they try to do this. Put their books here like this and do this. That's just going to piss me off. Okay? That's just going to make me even mad. Now, usually if you do something, and I got 20 years in, this is where I was going with the 20 years while ago. How many students have I asked to leave my classroom in 20 years? 3. Plus. 3. 2 of them were male. 1 of them was a female. The female was just a couple of semesters ago in this classroom. Not this classroom. That one in conduct school. And she just had issues. She had issues. Okay? But the whole point is, in 20 years, I've only had 3 people that could not get along with me. And the 2 guys, they just had guy issues. Okay? The girl, she had issues. Bust the baseball bat in the headlight type chick. You know what I'm talking about. She just had issues. But I get along with mostly everybody. But as Rocky says, I love most everybody. Okay? I get along with everybody. So I don't want you to think that I'm going to embarrass you or anything like that, because I would never do that to me if I was a student. Okay? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want that done to me. Okay? Now, if I find out that you can take a little bit of ribbon, then yeah, I'll mess with you a little bit. But for the student that Columbine sits in the back of the room all covered up. I'm not going to mess with that person, okay? If you're very quiet in class and you don't answer questions out loud, then chances are I'm not going to pick on you, okay? Texting, and this is also something to tell you in other classes. You got some teachers that don't have a life, okay? You got some teachers that don't have a cell phone. I don't believe that, but they say they don't have a cell phone. And they will go into cardio infarction if your cell phone goes off, okay? So take what I said and take it into all your classes. But you might have to turn your cell phone off in some classes because there are some that'll have a fit. This is not an online class. Now, this is also on the online classes students. I need to take that off because they get confused. All right? This is a generic handout. All right? So for the online 120 class, mark through this, okay? Read that. Attendance. I will accept you being in this classroom 3 ways. You sit in the class for the whole period. You come into class for some of the period. That means cross the threshold of the door. 10 seconds, leave. I counted you here. And by Skype. Okay. Why? Because if I have to drop you, I have to do what? Paperwork. I don't drop anybody. I do not drop anybody unless I'm told to drop somebody by you, financial aid, Tri-County Tech, another teacher, my department head, whatever the case may be. I don't sit here and say, well, Miss Williams, I really don't like her. She's got 2 days. If she misses this last day, I can drop her and she can't say anything. I don't do that. I'm the opposite of that. Okay? Now, when you get those stupid emails that say, you have missed class, you need to be in class every day. That's some bureaucrat over there in the library. I don't have anything to do with that. Okay? If I mark you absent, you're going to get one of those bureaucratic emails. Okay? So I don't have anything to do with that. You cannot be counted for watching a video. I cannot do that because I don't know if you watched it or not. All right? But I do know if you are attending, and I do ask that you engage your video. Okay? Why? Yeah, because if you just have a still picture there, all I see is a still picture. You can be laying in bed sleeping. Okay, I'm not stupid, people, okay?
Have people done that?
Yeah. Oh, listen, we had a fight. Was it your class? We had a fight in class. We had a fight with Mama and the son. My gosh, they left the microphone on.
Oh, no.
What the blank you doing? Mama, I'm in class. You need to hurry the blank up. Dog was barking in the background. I'm like, good golly mama. So read the rest of this handout. This is just common sense for most of y'all, but read that. That just tells you what kind of environment I want. I want a comfortable environment. If you can't contribute to a comfortable environment, then you stay at home and Skype in, okay? If people avoid you in the hallway, you might not want to stay in class, okay? Because people don't like you. All right. And the last one is a little bit about me, and there's a long story behind it. I'm not going to talk about it today, but basically, when I first started, I might have done it with your class. Passed out index cards and asked you, write down 10, and I put 10 things on the board, like favorite color, where do you work, where'd you go to high school, what's your birthday? Because back then, I was trying to show that everybody had something in common. Yeah, and I do that too. And people would mess it up, so I quit doing it. But I still, when I did it back then, I also gave the student a little bit about me because I think it was very hypocritical for me to ask about you and you not know about me. Have you ever had a teacher that you spend an hour and a half in the classroom and you walk out and you don't have any idea what their name is? And they want it that way. The teacher wants it that way. I think you're not getting your money's worth. And they also, if they are not very personable, they're not adding to the comfort of the environment. they're making it very stoic or very iced. So that's the opposite of me. Now, if you're wanting Dr. Gabadi, if you're wanting him that covers an hour and 31 minutes, or in a 2-hour session, an hour and 62 minutes, if you're wanting that type person, that's not me, is it? I'm not that person. I'm not going to sit here and spend an hour and 32 minutes in an hour and a half class teaching every single minute of math. That's not me. I teach 80% of my class is math. The rest of it, who knows? Okay? I chase rabbits. I talk about stuff. I talk about stuff that's open. I don't sit here and try to make you believe in something. I don't do that. I don't do like some of these English and history teachers do. You know, you've got to believe this way. I don't do that. But I tell you if you're wrong, especially if you're liberal. No, I'm just kidding. Liberals and ultra-conservatives, they're both nuts. I don't agree with either one of them. But anyway, I lost my last handout, didn't I? Let's see. Yep, I sure did. One day, when the rest of the teachers start using technology, they'll make the log out a little bit longer. I think I'm the only one that uses it. No, I think Phil Smith in CPT, he actually uses it too. So, okay, let's go back, and I want to pull up the last one. I'm trying to find it. How long? There it is. And the only reason I show you this, I had one student, one of my boss likes to irritate me every once in a while, and had an evaluation. I had a student in my class one time, it was like 2 semesters ago, and this student had some issues, kind of like he was introverted, and he really didn't want to sit in a classroom, and they told him he had to, and he complained about everything in my class. And at that time, about 3 semesters ago, we were told that we needed to incorporate some of our syllabus and handouts into assignments. And it can be a test, it can be a quiz, or it can be homework, or it can be an exercise, a group exercise, or whatever we wanted to do. So I included mine in my test. So that way everybody in here can make at least like a 50 on the test, even if they're not cognitive of their surroundings. They can still make a 50 because the questions are, all Hubert's tests are done where? Online. Okay? Those type questions, and they come from the syllabi and the handout. Well, I put 2 questions on there, 1 question about me, or 2 questions. And this guy put on my evaluation that I was full of myself because I put questions on my test. And she thought that was just hilarious. And she said, no, you got a bad evaluation. And I went, what? And then when she told me what it said, I knew exactly who it was, because that person complained about everything, the lighting, the desk, the shades. They complained about everything. So I knew who it was. But anyway, I'm not doing this because I'm full of myself. All right? I'm showing you this so you will have a test question. One of your test questions comes from this yellow area right here. Okay? 2 parts of the question comes from this yellow area. So make sure when you get the handout, make sure you kind of look over this. You don't have to memorize it. You just have to know what the question's going to ask. And then you say, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay? So that's where it comes from. There. I'm full of myself. Now, some people, as Lincoln said, what did he say? You can please some of the people all the time, and all the people some of the time. Some people are just going to bitch. And it's true. It's true. I'll never forget, I bought biscuits for a big class one time. And I sent one of the students to go get the biscuits. I just bought them. I gave them the money and they went to get them. And one of the students walked in. I said, I'm giving y'all biscuits today. One of the students walked in and they said, well, what kind? I said, free. Thus, remember, beggars can't be what? If somebody gives you something for free, you free, you say what? You say thank you, not turn your nose up and go, where did it come from? What kind? United States of pansies. That's what we've turned into. All right. Anybody got any questions on the handouts? Okay, I hope I covered everything, and hopefully you'll see that within the handouts are a lot of questions that you can answer yourself. If you would, read them. And y'all don't have, I can't fuss at y'all because y'all hadn't had them. Y'all just got them today. So, and you'll get them Friday also. So for those of you that just added to class today, who added today? You? Anybody else? Or yesterday? Okay, I thought I had somebody else add today. Oh well. Oh well, I thought I had 2 or 3. It might be the other 120. Okay, anyway. Huh?
Well, maybe they didn't show up.
Maybe they didn't. I remember you now. When you just said that, I remember you because of your voice. I remember you, and you had longer hair than you do. All right, now let's look at MyLabs Plus. MyLabs Plus. Now, when you go to MyLabs Plus, it's going to look like this. Now, there's 2 or 3 things that tell you you're not on the right page. One is, it's not going to say, what the heck is this? I've never seen that before. Do as I say, not as I do. Oh, this picture's all screwed up. And I can't spell. I spelled that wrong. Let's just quit. MyLabsPlus.com. See, he's done got discouraged. I can't even find it. He's leaving. All right. Put in your username without the TCTC, and put in your old password or your T number if it's new. And hit sign in. Now, when you do that, it's going to ask you, do you want to pay for access code? Have you got your access code either before or after it lets you into the class? I can't remember. I think it's before. Because once you type in your access code, it will send you to this page. And you'll have last semester's, if you had it last semester, and then you'll have this semester's. You click on the right there, you click on it, and that takes you to this page, which is what they call the dashboard. And here, the 3 most important buttons. I have to really explain this because I get students, I can't find the assignments. Well, you might want to look under homework and quizzes and tests and gradebook. Okay, those are the 3 most important. Now the rest of them, not a big deal. This one you can use right here to pull up your book. Oh, because I didn't zoom it down. That's why I don't zoom down very much, because I keep forgetting unless I get Abana to do it for me. There. The 3 are homework, quizzes and tests, and gradebook. The 4th most important is chapter contents. I'll go ahead and show you the chapter contents now because some of you might want to pull up the book. Chapter contents, I think we start with chapter 1. And I think we go into 1.1. You have to look at your outline. And there's the videos. You can sit there and watch videos of what's going to be presented. You can look at the e-text, which is your book online, and you're able to print up to 10, 12 pages. Now, if most of the sections are less than 10 pages, okay, so you're not going to have a section with 25 pages and they're just going to let you do 10. That's not going to happen. And if you look on page 3, if you've got a book, it looks just like this. Now, I tell students that you can buy a book, brand new, you can buy a used book, you can use an old book, you can share a book, you can borrow a book, or you can use the book online and print it out sections. But you're going to have to use the outline to print out the sections, put 3 holes in it, put it in your book, and just carry a notebook instead of your notebook and a book. Okay? And you can print out the sections per chapter. Okay, or per unit. And hit the print button right there, and it's going to ask you to print page 1 or page 2 or page 3 up to about 10. And I don't think there's any sections, and that includes the extra problems that are in, before computers, you had problems at the end of the section in your notebook, in your book. That includes those problems, so if you want to do those for extra practice, you can. Okay? That's how you print your book. Now, if you want to, you can go over here and expand chapter 1. Expand chapter 1 and click on 2, and then you can print this section, and then print 1-3. Now you have to have the outline so you know what to print out. That's why the outline is so important, and that's how you print out your book. So, do you have to bring a book to class? No, those days are gone. Miss Reinhardt, that was sitting right there, I don't know if she left or she might have had to go to work. She didn't use a single book last semester because all of her books were online. Now that's up to the person. Now if you got Bubba that's a deadhead that can't fend for himself, he don't need to be doing this because he's not going to print it out because he's too lazy. All right, so if you're one of those people, you need a book. All right, and if you're just like the book, then you need to get a book. But I wouldn't buy a new one just because you like the book. I'd get a used one or borrow one or share one. Because some of y'all come to class together. It's up to you. Okay? And that's how you use the book online. Study plan. Yes, sir. You can do that also. Now, that's a privilege. Don't let me walk up behind you and you be on Facebook. That was one of the problems with the girl that had issues. She would get on Facebook. I would walk the back of the room and I'd watch her playing on Facebook, and I'd just watch her. And then I'd do a problem on the board, and she was on Facebook, and she would ask me, well, how do you start the problem? And that's when it just finally reached a peak, and she said, well, can you go over that problem again? I said, no. I said, because you're on Facebook. And I said, that's not only disrespectful, it's rude, and you don't know how to do the material. And she said a couple of words, and I said, you just need to leave. And that was it. So don't do that, okay? I can understand if I'm out in the hallway doing something, or if another teacher comes in, you want to go over to Facebook and check your Facebook. I do that while y'all working on a problem. It's no big deal, all right? I'm laid back until you push it, all right? And if you push it, I'll, say, didn't I say something about blah, blah, blah? And then that's when everybody looks around and says, who's doing it? Who's doing it? And then the second time, I'm going to call you out. And the third time, I'm going to embarrass you and ask you to leave. I've never had to do those 3 things, except for those 3 times. So I don't think, in the summer, I don't think we'll have that problem. Okay? Usually, I have those problems in the fall. And every single time, those 3 times were in the fall. So it's not a big deal. Study plan. Now, when you get on to MyLabs Plus, there's going to be 2 sets of problems that you don't have to do. And if you do them, it's not going to hurt your grade, it's not going to help your grade. And those are the study plan problems and the generic tests. I'll show you, go ahead and show you the study plans right here. These are just like the problems in your book, extra problems. Let's say we're doing 1.1 and I give you 5 problems to do in your homework. And you do those 5 problems and you say, I still don't feel good about this material. Well, if you don't feel good about doing the material after those 5 problems, you either do the problems in the book or you do these. They won't hurt you, but they'll do nothing but help you. Now, they're not going to help you numerically in your grade, but they will help you as far as extra problems. So the study plan is where you get extra problems. And they will tell you if you're right or wrong. They will tell you what to do if you don't know what to do, but they will not dig into your grade, or they won't help your grade. They'll help you learn, but they're not going to help you grade. The generic tests are the same, and I'll show you those in just a second. But let's look at the, I want to go, I think I can go to the homework. I think I opened it up. So when you're talking about the chapter contents, you're talking about the quizzes and tests. You're talking about, the multimedia e-text, which is your book online. You're talking about your videos of the whole section, and you're talking about the study plan, which is extra problems. Now let's say you want to take a test. Well, you go to the main menu, you hit take a test. Right now, there's no test by me loaded, but there's tests on there. There's a pre-test, there's a review test, there's a post-test, and there's a pre-test. These are generic tests. These are for the teacher that doesn't want to make a test, and they just tell you to get on there and do the homework and the test. Do the study plan and the test. When you're through with all 15 chapters, you're ready to go to the next course. All right? That's what that type teacher, okay? Usually on an independent lab setting where you got a student in there trying to take 2 or 3 algebra courses in one semester. Or they're the opposite of fast, and it takes them a semester to get through 2 chapters. All right? Whichever the case may be, usually that's in more of an independent study, and I don't use these, but you can use them, but will they count for a grade? No. Will they count against your grade? No. These are generic, just like the study plan. So you need to put in your notes, study plan and generic test are just for extra work, extra help, extra progress, whatever you want. Does not count for a grade. Where will you see my test? My test will be at the top of the page. It'll say Hubert's Unit 1 test, Hubert's Unit 2 test, Hubert's Chapter 3 test, whatever the case may be. It'll either have a Roman numeral on it or it'll have my name on it, one of the two. And you know that's one of my tests. And it'll have a different symbol beside it. It'll look different. Okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about. And I don't know how many of y'all have had this course. I don't know how many of you have had MyLabs Plus. I know of one of you that haven't had it or has had it. I don't know who hasn't had it. So I'm talking to that person that hasn't had it. Is who I'm talking to. And if you hit test, this is last semester's. You see, there's mine. And see, it's just set up different. And here's the generic test. And look at there, it's got the due date on it, so you don't have to ask me. Homework does too. Go to homework last semester. Look at there, it has a due date on it, so you don't have to ask me. Now, if you don't see a due date, then you don't need to worry about it. Somebody's still going to ask me. All right, homework. Now, this is the one I spend a lot of time on. I spend a lot of time on this, but I'm just going to last semester's if it'll let me in it. I don't know if it'll let me in it or not. No, that's 103. I don't want to do 103. Hold on a second. Let me just go to 103. I think I've opened up y'all's homework. I guess I haven't. Have I? Evidently I haven't. Let's see chapter 1. No, I haven't. So I'll just go to the study plan and show you what they look like. I'm going to go to chapter 3 because that's where the math problems are. I do terrible at vocabulary. All right, so the homework's going to look like this. It's going to say Hubert's Unit 1, 1.1 homework, or whatever the case may be. And then down here, you're going to have some problems. And I'm going to click on one of these with the film strip beside it so you'll have a video. Now, the most important thing that you need to realize is this guy right over here. Question help. Now, when Course Compass was designed, it was called MyMathLab way back in the 2000s. All right. In 1996, it was called Interact Math, and you had these 3.5-inch discs that we had to use. That's why I had to ask for 2 computers, because the classroom didn't have 2 computers in it. And I asked for those 2 computers, and it was like it took me 6 months to get 2 old computers that somebody had used, because the teachers were like, "What are you going to do with those computers? You going to let them draw on it or what?" They had no idea what I was doing. And they'd put the disc in, and they'd have these 10 problems in 1.1, and then they'd do them. and then they type the answer in, and then they could print it out, they could give it to them, check them off for homework. And then they do the test the same way. And that was the first thing. It's called Interactive Math. And then the next semester, and eventually we moved over to the third floor of Oconee Hall, and they put in a whole new computer lab. And then that's when we started using Force Compass. And, or it's called my Math Lab is what it was called back then. And then we moved on. So what I'm telling you is, I've been following this thing all the way through. And one of the reasons they did this was because a lot of students like working on their own with their homework. But they get to a certain point and they get to a place where they can't get past that one problem. And the whole development of my Math Lab and Force Compass and My Labs Plus, they're all the same thing, is that when you have that hump, that you have some way to get past that hump. And some way that you get past that hump is these different learning style tutorials over here. One, help me solve this. Have you ever had a tutor that asks you more questions than you ask him or her? Okay, you go through a problem and they say, okay, now what we start with? And you say, you gotta say, okay, you start with X. And what's beside the X? Plus 4. And what's on the right side of the equal sign? Equals 2. And then you have to answer 3 questions for every step. That's called a guided tutorial. All right? Some people like that, especially people that have been out of school for a long time, or people that have not ever seen a topic before, like algebra. They like to have that structured, methodical questioning to see that you understand everything about the problem, versus the person that has seen it before and just wants the tutor to tell them how to do it. This is the teller that tells you how to do it. This is the tutor that tells you step by step and asks you questions. So if you need to make a note on this, this is the one that asks the questions. This is the one that shows you how to do it, step by step. Don't ask you anything. This is for you visual learners. Mostly guys. Guys are mostly visual learners. You know, I don't need the directions to put the bike together. I just need what? A picture. And they put the bike together, and the wife or the girlfriend says, what's these parts for? And the husband says, oh, those are spare parts. Meanwhile, Johnny's in the ditch because the front tire fell off the bicycle, and he's got a broke leg. Now, how many of you women have been on a trip in a car, and you've had a husband or boyfriend think they knew where they were going? And you passed the QT with the green car in front of it 5 times? I don't need no directions. Guys do not need directions. All they need is a picture. Anyway, that's for the visual learners. Those that like the videos. There are some interactive tutorials, which is like a video and a computer tutorial together. Instead of the person talking, the computer is talking to you, and it has these graphics that slide around and move around. That's the difference between the interactive tutorial and the video. And I don't know why it's not coming up, but it'll come up on your computer. It's just not coming up on this network right now. I don't know why. Did I hit video? There it is. I didn't hit it. Probably going to be that annoying woman. That's not the annoying woman. There's an annoying woman on the 103, I think. Oh, she's got long hair, and she looks like one of those people on horror movies that don't know how to get out of a dark house. You know what I'm talking about? Or they run to the chainsaw barn during the Chainsaw Massacre. But anyway, you turn the yeah. I don't know. Shows you how to do it, and it's pretty cheesy, but if you ever get one with a little swoop beside it, I don't know what swoop is. Swoop, like a Nike swoop. All right, that's an interactive tutorial, and that's a little bit better because it's a little bit easier to clear. Okay, so I'm going to get out of that. So if you pull this down and you see something below the video, and it's got the little graphic beside it, it'll say probably interactive tutorial or something like that. Textbook is for you readers. Some of y'all can read like War and Peace in like 2 days. I can't read a phone book without falling asleep. I can't read the newspaper without falling asleep. But some of y'all can read a book like in 2 hours. All right? Some of y'all like to read. And those students that like to read can use that, and it takes you to the book where that material is being introduced. So that's for you people that like to read. StatCrunch is a glorified Excel spreadsheet. We will use the Excel spreadsheet. I use it as a teaching tool. I do not force my students to use it. So don't put on my evaluation, he forced us to use Excel and I don't even know how to use a computer. That's what some people put. All right. I use it because I write very big and I write very unorganized. So this little board up here, I can't do a whole calculus problem. I can't do calculus in a room with a whiteboard like that. I have to do calculus on a board like this to where I could just hit plus, 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 because I'm very sporadic with my writing. So it's either have all over the place or use the Excel spreadsheet to put everything in order, in a methodical order. And I do that because of y'all. I don't do it to force you to use Excel. You can still use a calculator, you can do it by hand. I teach all three. But I use the Excel spreadsheet just for presentation, okay? Tech help, I have no idea what that is. I would assume it's questions about, your calculator. That's what that's for. And Excel should be on there. Yeah, there's Excel. And that's really not ask my instructor. Out of all the stuff that MyLabs Plus does, that's what I care about. Because students don't like to ask questions in class. What I do, student has a problem. They've tried everything. They still don't understand the problem. They send it to me. They say, you didn't teach this because you are full of yourself. I didn't do this in my last class. I said because I just said because you suck. Now I do it for a reason. I do it because I want you to see how fast it gets to my email. It gets sent. Now, some people might put, Hubert, I did this problem correctly, but it marked it wrong. Please fix my homework grade. You might want to send it to me for that. You may do the problem and it says the answer is 1/2 and you put 1/2 and it says it's wrong and they put correct answer is 1/2 or 0.5 and they mark yours wrong. Then you get ask my instructor. Instead of do this in class, you say, Hubert, look at the answers. They are the same. Give me credit for this problem. Send it to me. And then as soon as there's my email. And what I do, look over here on the side of my email, I have only at Tri-County Tech, where the T-Rexes roam. There it is. And I will take that and I'll put it over here in the Math 120 questions. And at the beginning of the class, every day, I'll look on my email and I'll go over questions. Did I do that with your class? I know I did it with your class. The problem is students won't send questions because they put the homework off to the end. You need to do your homework every day. That way you know if you have questions or not. If I don't get any questions, what am I going to assume? That you know the material, and I'm going to go on to the next section. So this is what gauges the class. If this class sends no homework question, then we're going to move pretty fast. Now, I'm not expecting a lot of questions in the reading chapters, okay? I do expect questions after chapter 3, and that's when we start getting into the math, okay? Very important that you do that. And look, there's the message. I didn't send this to myself 20 minutes ago. I just sent it a few seconds ago. The good thing about this is you do not have to tell me what the problem is. I just click on the link, and it gives me the exact same problem that you were working. And I pull it up in front of class. I've had students send me the same problem, and we do them. Now, if you send me if everybody in here sends me one problem that's the same problem, then I start to reassess if I covered the material correctly. That never happens, okay? Because I'm just that good. No, I try to cover the material to where y'all can get it. Now, I may get 2 or 3 of y'all send one question, but I very seldom get 15, 20 people sending the same question, okay? But use it. That is what I want you to use. I want you to use it. There are some teachers that cut that off. I don't know why. But you have some teachers that don't want you to ask questions in class. Usually that's because they don't know the material well enough to answer the questions. Yeah, that's usually it. But that's the best way, because some students don't like to ask questions. Some students just want to ask a question about the math. Some people want just points. So whatever you put in that little box will determine whether I send it to the homework questions or whether I just fix it, or whether you just want me to do print it out and fix something and show you. What you want me to do is what I'll do. And if you send it to me and say, Hubert, can you do a video on this problem, like office hours, then I will do the problem on my webcam in my office, my document cam, and I'll post it on YouTube, and I'll send you an email. If not you, I'll send the whole class an email. This is number 13 on 3.2. A student called, student sent it in, they were having problems with it. Hopefully y'all can use it. And I'll do it on paper, just like they do it on some of the YouTube channels. The video cam is looking down on the paper, and I do it on the paper. Okay? All right, who's got questions about, oh, one more thing. Print, this, when it says print, and it says it somewhere here, right here, print. Now, it doesn't say it here because this is a study plan, but on the homework, it'll say print out this problem or print out the whole assignment. Why would you print out the whole assignment? Well, you would print out the whole assignment for 2 reasons. One is you don't like computers. You go home, you print out the whole assignment on 1.1 or 3.1, do the problems, then you go back into the computer 3.1 and type in the answers. That's the old conventional way of doing it. The other person brings it into class and marks the ones and fills out the notes under the questions that I go over, or the ones like the ones I go over. That way, if they see a question on the homework that they don't know how to do, they see it in the classroom while they can ask the question. Okay, so that's the 2 people that will print out. One, they want to do it the conventional way, paper and pencil, and then type in the answers. The other puts it in their notebook and brings it to class, and then marks which ones I do for examples. And that way they get to see which ones they haven't seen before in class. Okay? And that's how you print out. One other thing, and you're not going to see it here, so I'll go back to my last semester's class. How do you print out your test? You click on the class, you go to gradebook, and I'm not going to be able to go, I can go to my gradebook, and I'm going to pick a student. Let me pick somebody that he won't care. He's a teacher. You see these reviews right here? This is what comes up in your gradebook. So let's say you want to go back and review Unit 1 test or the final exam. You hit the review, whatever, always. Let me try. Hold on, let me do it again. There it is, and then you go over here, and somewhere you can hit print. Somewhere, anybody see it? Somewhere on here you can hit print. I don't see it right now. There it is, print review. It should show you there. Well, somewhere on there you can print it. I don't think you can print the final. You can print your other test. Okay. Let me go back to one of the other tests. Get out of there. Mr. Harvell, Unit 4 test review. And there should be a print button on here somewhere. There it is, print. And you can print out the whole test. There's one of your bonus questions. Does Hubert replace your lowest test grade with your final exam grade? Have I said anything about that? Then the answer would be no way, no how. And that's some of your bonus questions. I put them on all my tests. When is the last day of class? Now you need to look that up. How do you look that up? You go to your academic calendar. Where is your academic calendar, Hubert? It's on the, well, it'll say student, and not student, message center. And go down here, and it says academic what? Academic calendars. And then you hit summer. And then you go down, because all that reading y'all ain't going to do. So you go here, and you look for last day of class. So you might want to write this down, because this is 2 test questions right here. The last day of class is July what? 25th. Hot as Hades. Okay? I made a promise to myself this semester, last year. I'm not going on vacation until it gets cool. I went in the worst possible time to go last year, and it was awful. Exams. I went to New York. Took a train to New York. And it was fun, but it was hot as Hades up there. I thought you go up north, it gets cool. No. It felt like dadgum South Carolina. It felt like Beaufort, South Carolina. Paris Island. It was awful. Okay. Look at here. Exams. When is exams? That's a test question. July 26th through 28th. Now, why do I put those 2 questions on the test? My gosh. Y'all, at the end of the semester, some of y'all turn into hammies. Some of y'all turn into these freaks. Y'all start bouncing around, and y'all start crying, and y'all do all kinds of things. There, you have it, so you don't have to ask me. I don't know what to do. All right, who has questions? I've gone over that. I've gone over that. I've gone over. The only thing I got left is just going over the material, which I'm not going to do that today because I just don't want to do it. Okay? Yeah, who's got questions for me so far on the logistics of the class, which means the handouts, or My Labs Plus? Anything so far? Yes, ma'am. I'll probably start on 1 and 2. I'll go through. You were asking. You can ask stuff like that the first day of class. It's the ones where you come up and say, I'm not going to be here Thursday. What are you going to do? Smart. All right. Who has a legitimate question? All right. I got to call the roll, and this is the way I do the roll. I go over here, and I hit the attendance tracker. And I hit 120, 12.
Were all those summer classes then?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
That's neat.
All right. Yes, ma'am. What's your last name? Moore. I'm sorry, what? Were you the one that emailed me? Texted, yeah. Okay. I don't see your name yet, but it takes 24 hours for it to, after you register, it takes 24 hours. So, tomorrow, when I say tomorrow, that means what? Thursday. Okay? Tomorrow, when you come in, it'll be on. But you were here today, but that's fine. All right. Okay. Got an Italian in here. Arletti. Okay. Bain. Okay. Bennett. Okay. You don't have a sister that comes here, do you? Huh?
Yes.
Is that the one that I worked with last semester?
Yeah.
You are kidding me. I thought that was her. I'm sorry. I thought she was going to take one of my classes this semester. Okay, good. They told her she couldn't get past pre-algebra, and she's already taken like 3 of my classes. It's awful. Mr. Can. I'm sorry, Miss Can. Miss Can's not here. She gonna fail. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Dong. Okay. Vietnam? Where's that Dong from? China. Okay, I was thinking Vietnam. Ellis. Oh gosh, he's in this class. I need to get rid of him. He's a good friend of mine. Godinez. Okay. Goolsby. Hoyt. Latimer. And not down there from Latimer Road on 29, is it? You know them people down there? They're good friends. My dad is good friends with the older, one of the grandfathers, and we've been knowing them for a long time. And it's kind of like the Berries down there at Genesee Creek Church. Everybody knows the Berries down there. Anyway, I'll shut up. All right. Latimer. Miss McClure. She's here. McElhannon. Okay. I believe I had some of your folks in the class. I've had a couple of McElhannons. Miss Phillips. Miss Ritchie is here. Miss Reinhardt was here. Miss Roberts. She was here. Roland. Roland. Rizuki. Sorry, let me try it. Rizika. Is that correct? I was going to say Ukraine, but close enough. That's interesting. I think those names are interesting because there's a whole area over there they can be from over there that used to be the Soviet Union. All the Russians, it's your fault. Everything's the Russians' fault now. Before it was George W. Bush's fault. Everything was George W. Bush's fault. Now it's all the Russians' fault. If you stub your toe in the morning, it's the Russians' fault.
Yeah.
Smith, where's Miss Smith? Okay, yeah, you're right. I got you. Miss Welborn, okay, and Miss Williams. I got her. Okay, y'all get out of here. You got any questions? Come up. If you don't, see y'all. I got to stop the recording, and y'all have a good day.